We ask a lot of motion control and automation in general in the industrial space, and we expect machine control now to be more than just managing rotary and linear motion. We're interested in extracting data from the process. We're interested in very sophisticated means of control. We're interested in safety, interested in security. There are a lot of factors at play. I spoke with Adam Stout. He's Senior Motion Sales Engineer at the Yaskawa America, about his iCube ecosystem and how it integrates all these different functions. Take a look. Adam, everyone has a slick HMI these days. Everyone talks about they have effortless control of complex systems here. But today, it's a lot more than just how you can program the equipment now. Now we've got other factors at play here. Things it's got to talk to other machines. There's data security. There's safety. A lot of factors are rolled into this. How complex are these HMIs? And tell me about iCube.
Well, iCube is sort of the platform. That's the Yaskawa ecosystem that we introduced about 18 months ago. This demo here has got a controller called the iC9200. That's sort of the heart of the iCube platform. We offer it in two versions. We offer a standard machine motion controller. That's the iC9200-EC. We offer another version that is called -FSOE, which also incorporates a complete safety controller onto the system as well. What we designed this for is to be a flexible package, a flexible control system that allows you to have a single point of integration for an entire machine or an entire line. So with the iC9200, you get servo control, robot control, VFD control. It is an EtherCAT master or a main device, so it allows you to also incorporate third-party devices. So non-Yaskawa hardware can be incorporated in the system as well if it's needed. On board, we stacked it with quite a bit of communication protocol and options there. So as I mentioned previously, it's an EtherCAT main device, but it also supports OPC UA communications, which is a secure communication protocol to talk to HMIs, SCADA systems, MES systems within a plant. It has Ethernet IP, adapter or scanner, Modbus TCP, Profinet, and we do also have a solution for an IO link integration as well, which is becoming more and more popular. You can kind of see on this demo here, we've got IO modules that can butt right up next to the iC9200, and what that does is it creates what we call slice bus. So those would be local IO points coming into the controller, or we offer remote IO solutions, which we call Slice IO, which incorporate a bus coupler module. So we offer those in many flavors, EtherCAT, Ethernet IP, that sort of thing, but you can also put IO modules on the Slice IO bus coupler, and then you have either a local or remote IO solution. So truly a one-stop shop to integrate everything that you would need for an automation system, a machine, or a line.
Yeah, it's pretty provocative. One of the things you mentioned is that you're brand agnostic in the sense I can have equipment from different manufacturers. There's a long history in industrial automation of you fall into one ecosystem and you feel trapped in it, because you're afraid to deviate, because you have a knowledge experience base in one and you're concerned about communication. Because for a long time there were integrators who could attempt to in an ad hoc way get different brands of equipment to communicate with each other with mixed success. So if I'm a Siemens house or an ABB house predominantly and I want a new piece of bespoke production equipment, I can go ahead and plug iCube in there and just go?
Yeah, you could plug iCube in there and go. Obviously, being Yaskawa, we'd prefer you use everything from Yaskawa, right? We're a motion control company at our core, motors and drives, IO products, HMIs, that sort of thing. What we're doing with this, though, is trying to create a flexible package such that if the situation dictates, you could pull in a third-party device as needed, right? So our applications engineer are writing help files, app notes right now daily, putting them online, and we're showing how easy it is to integrate third-party devices with the system.
A phenomenon that we've noticed in manufacturing is that there are varying levels of data security required now, as well as safety. Data security, a classic example, is general purpose manufacturing firm gets a military contract. Now they've got to be ITER compliant. And so suddenly now security matters in a way it didn't before. Now I've got to go back and I've got to rework my control systems to accommodate that. It sounds like this is ideal for that kind of situation.
Yeah, built in on the iC9200 are a number of security features, right? So I mentioned OPC UA earlier. The OPC UA server lives on the iC9200-EC or the FSOE version, okay? So you get a secure communication platform out of the box with it. We also support OPC pub sub and that sort of thing as well. In addition, the developers and the engineering team that put this all together designed this to conform to IEC safety standards, right? So that can be as simple as A user authentication, you have to log into the system. If you have the safety PLC version, you have to log in separately to the safety processor as well. In addition, we do things like user roles. So you might set this up where you want the engineer to have full access to the program, but an operator of the machine may not need that access, right? So that's all completely tailored to the application and the situation itself, but it's all on board. In addition, we have user checksums on the safety processor that allow for the developers to understand if there has been a change to the safety PLC program that had been made, right? So that would give you another level of security to let you know that it is how you developed the system.
That could be really handy, because we live in a world now where often you have a safety audit, which could come from an internal safety officer, could come from one of your customers, or it could come from a level of government, basically, and your ability to step back and trace the development of your safety system. That could save a lot of paperwork.
That's correct. That's correct. That's exactly what it's designed for. And those checksums are made to know if maybe the end user, an OEM developed the machine, shipped it to an end user received the machine and made a change to the safety program. Well, now we know that there was a change made. Again, with the OPC UA and any data transfer that we have going on in the system, we also do like a TLS encryption as well. So everything's encrypted, everything's secure, it's built to IEC safety and security standards out of the box.
Now, the ability to tailor motion control by the type of user that's interacting with the equipment, that's interesting to me as well. So essentially, an engineer or even a millwright, someone who may need an extended range of motion, for example, in a machine which would create a safety hazard in a production environment, you can simply key it out so that the operator basically sees one machine, essentially, and the engineer or millwright sees another.
Exactly. Yeah, we've got access to our development software called iCube Engineer. We've got access to what we call a WBM, that's the web-based management system. On that web-based management system, the developer that's writing the program for the machine can tailor different user roles to different access levels within the controller, allowing them to back projects up, allowing them to download changes to a project. That would be akin to our example here, right? An operator wouldn't be able to download the changes if it wasn't set up that way for them to do so.
How about the HMI? One issue with HMIs, going back to the beginning of this, is that for some user operators you need a restricted range of functions as well as access, but you need the HMI to be simplified for some operators. There are some very high-level operators, development engineers, where they need access to absolutely everything. They need to see it. They need to see the process flow chart. They need to see the controls in a different way. Is this a world we're looking at now where basically we're going to customize the HMI so that the individual standing in front of it looks at a unique version of the HMI?
You could. You definitely could, right? We definitely could with the different user roles that we discussed. And we can make things like pages visible, non-visible, based on who's logged into the system. Maybe, like you said, you want an operator to see certain things in production, but the engineer has to see everything that's going on, right? They have to see data logs. They have to see all of the information about the system. Yeah, you definitely could.
How about reliability, maintainability? How do I service this equipment?
Yaskawa is known for quality. Our products are built to last. Serviceability here, we offer a web-based management tool. The web-based management tool gives the engineers, the users, anything they need. Let's say a drive, servo pack failed in the field, or a controller failed in the field. Well, we can download an archive, which is as simple as a zip file, right back in and get you right back up and going. So there's no real reprogramming or redistribution of anything that's required to get it back up and running.
Adam, automatically looking at this, it lends itself, it seems to me, toward light assembly, manufacturing, packaging, maybe pharma. It's hard to think of to limit the number of industries it could work in. What industries do you think will be primary adopters?
I think it's really built for all industries. The thing to remember about the iCube controller, the iC9200 in general, is you've got a system here that can run servos, it can run VFDs, so maybe conveyor systems, it can run robotics, so end-of-line packaging type systems at the end of the conveyor. We can do third-party devices, we can integrate into different I/O types and forms, and it's all in one development environment. That's one thing that does separate this unit, is you're not maintaining a separate program for the robotics per se. You're not maintaining a separate program for just the automation. If you have the safety version of the iC9200, it also holds the safety PLC program. I will say the safety PLC program is its own entity. So you have a separate login to get to the safety PLC program. The version of iC9200 that has the safety controller built in is called our FSOE version. And that version has dual processors specific to the safety function. Our main version has our Triton processor, which is a processor Yaskawa developed specifically for demanding motion control applications. So things like you'd see with CNC machining centers, extrusion, pultrusion processes, or even as simple as if you had a Cartesian system with a main axis and a prime axis that you needed to synchronize. So all in all, it's really built for any industry where motion is paramount to the type of system that's being developed.
Motion control, communication, data security, and safety integrated into one system, says Adam Stout of Yaskawa America.